One of the first high-profile flat earthers to ever leave the flat earth community and come back to the globe was Ranty. He was struggling to work out how this picture here worked on a flat earth. There was just no way that Blackpool Tower could look taller than the mountains behind it on a flat plane. Now that photo was analysed to death, and it turns out when you work out the angular size of both the mountain and the Blackpool Tower, that photo would have been impossible on a flat earth. It led to Ranty leaving for good, and I thought that would be that. But one flat earther has decided, no, everyone got everything wrong. Of course they did. Roll the titles. Hello all and welcome along to another video with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Okay, on with today's video then, and the flat earther in question is a guy called Brian's Logic. He thinks that the photo in question actually proves flat earth, and that we were all wrong. Let's have a look then, shall we?
Okay, the angular size, the height in feet of Dale Craig is 2,550 feet. The height of Blackpool Tower in feet is 518 feet. We're going to say 520 feet, just to round it off, 520. The angular size of Dale Craig, it's 0.48 of a mile high, is 0.5361 degrees.
Okay, I use kilometres as I believe that to be more accurate, and I got 0.54 degrees. But that's close enough.
The angular size of Blackpool Tower, it's 0.098 of a mile high, is 0.46024.
And I concur, 0.46 degrees for Blackpool Tower.
I have to make a concession. In the video before this, or two videos before this, I gave the angular size of the tower bigger than Dale Craig. Because of my distance to the tower, I had mixed it up with a distance to the bank at the seabed, as opposed to the tower. But it didn't matter because when I was showing it in the demonstration with GeoGebra, I gave it double. I gave Dale Craig double the angular size of the tower, and it totally helped flat out. It didn't help the globe at all.
I'm slightly confused here, Brian. Dale Craig has an angular size larger than Blackpool Tower, yet Blackpool Tower looks bigger than Dale Craig. Now, the angular size calculator already accounts for perspective. It removes it from the argument. So if indeed the Earth was flat, we should be seeing Dale Craig larger than Blackpool Tower in that photo.
So it makes no difference if Dale Craig is slightly bigger in angular size. As I said, because when I showed it, I gave Dale Craig double the angular size in that video. You can watch it. I won't go into it all now, but you can watch it. It's only two videos before this one.
I'm not sure why you would give Dale Craig double the angular size and then think that that is helping us. The fact of the matter is, it still appears smaller than Blackpool Tower.
Okay, so if we go into Metabunk, right, a distance in miles of 51.3 miles, a view height in feet, 20 feet, right? The geometric hidden for that distance is 1400.17 feet, right? So let's just say 1400 feet, right? So if we remove 1400 from the height of Dale Craig, which is 12550, right? So 2550 minus 1400 equals 1150 feet. And we convert that, right, just to show, to feet to miles, it'll be 0.2178 miles, right?
Why are you converting it to miles here? There's no need. You correctly calculated that around 1400 feet would be hidden by the curve of Earth, leaving 1150 feet visible from a 20-foot observer height. That pretty much matches the photo exactly, but converting that remaining height into miles is meaningless.
So if we then go into the angular size calculator, give it a distance of 51.3 miles and a size of 0.2178 miles. So the remaining visible part of Dale Craig, according to the globe, right, will be 0.2178 of a mile above the globe's geometric edge, right? The one thing that doesn't exist, right? But that's what it would be. And when we calculate the angular size of that height at that distance, we get 0.24326 degrees.
What are you doing, Brian? Yes, the visible part of Dale Craig does have a smaller angular size than Blackpool Tower, because most of the mountain is hidden by Earth's curvature. That's not a problem for the globe, it's a direct prediction of it. And the photo shows that the visible part of the mountain is indeed smaller than Blackpool Tower. You're essentially proving that the visible part of the mountain, the piece above the horizon, looks exactly as it should compared to Blackpool Tower. The angular size is smaller because it's further away and partially hidden by the curve of Earth, whilst the tower is closer and fully visible. That's not a problem for the globe, that's a perfect confirmation of the globe. On a flat Earth, that entire mountain should be visible, and its angular size should dwarf that tower. But it doesn't, which proves the Earth is not flat. How are you debunking yourself so epically here, Brian?
Now, that means that it's only half the angular size of the tower, right? Now, as I showed in that other video, when I gave the Dow Craig double the angular size of the tower, it still didn't help the globe. It still totally proved flat. It didn't help the globe at all, right? But when we add in perspective to the globe, we make it the remaining visible amount. We add angular size to that, and suddenly it's tiny, right? It's only half the size of the tower.
But angular size is perspective. You don't add in perspective after calculating angular size. That is a fundamental misunderstanding. You've just shown that the visible part of the mountain appears smaller than Blackpool Tower. You say that angular size makes it tiny. But that's what happens when an object is far away and partially obscured by Earth. Again, you're not disproving the globe, you're confirming it.
So that would mean that if we came to the photograph here, and we get a line, right, and we zoom in a bit, right, so bring it over a bit, that would mean that, right, there's the seabed, right, that would mean that the top of the mountain would be here, right, about there. That's where the top of the mountain would be, right.
What are you on about? You've placed a line halfway up the visible part of that mountain and claimed, yep, that should be the top. But as we've already discussed on the globe model, the bottom 400 feet of that mountain is hidden. So the visible part that we're looking at is just the top section of that mountain, isn't it? Not the whole thing. You're ignoring obstruction and then pretending that your line means something. It doesn't. It just shows your misunderstanding of what you're seeing.
So this part here, I'll just get another one, a different colour, make it blue, right? This here, right, where this is showing, if we're on a globe, right, and perspective existed as well, that would be down here. That's where that would be, because it's only half, because the height of Blackpool Tower from the seabed to the top is 520 feet. So we're going to go halfway up, it would be there. Now this is a point that I brought up, it was brought up, I think it was Adam Meakin originally brought it up, but I remember using it in the debate against Ranty on this photograph here. And he, at the very end of the debate, and Conspiracy Cats just wanted to get away and end the whole thing because Ranty had nothing. None of them had anything because they couldn't argue with it.
Perhaps they were dumbfounded by your incredibly poor logic, Brian. You're comparing a full tower to a partially hidden mountain and then saying that's a flaw. But it's confirmation of Earth's curvature. I do not understand how you're not getting that. If you believe that Earth is flat, that means in your model, everything is above the horizon. That is why you work out the angular size of both the mountain and the tower with their actual heights. This means that on a flat Earth, the mountain with a larger angular size should appear bigger than the tower at those distances, but it doesn't. Then you worked out the angular size of the portion that sits above the horizon, because the curve of the Earth is blocking us from seeing the bottom of the mountain, and that gave you an angular size that is smaller than Blackpool Tower. And the picture shows that. So effectively, what you've done is proven the curvature maths with your angular size calculation of the visible part of the mountain. Well done, you.
So as soon as you add in perspective into the globe, it ruins the globe.
But angular size takes perspective into account, Brian. And angular size destroys flat Earth.
Right? The globe is ruined because that's what, if if angular size change, if we're on a globe and angular size change existed simultaneously, then that's where the top of the mountain is. But we know, right, the top of the mountain is up here, right? And we know, as I've shown already and proven, that it's purely perspective. And I've gone through all of it in the past few videos and in the past, but in the past few videos I really hammered it home because I wanted to present my challenge, which I'm going to link in the description of this video as well. And my challenge video is the one just prior to this one. And it's a challenge about using a drone.
A challenge, you say? Well, Brian, perhaps we need to look at this challenge video next week.
So the point being is that, if I just remove that, the point being is that, if this is geometric Earth curve is the cause of the mountain appearing lower than the tower, then when you raise up with a drone straight up from the observer's location, right, then that mountain, because at the top, if we look straight out from the top of the tower, right, you'll be looking straight over the top of the mountain. If it's geometric Earth curve, right, that's what will be happening. If there's just purely Earth curve, no, obviously they have no perspective or anything, right? So it's purely geometric Earth curve, right? But if it's perspective, then as the drone raises up, then the mountain will appear to raise with the drone.
You're claiming that if curvature were the reason that the mountain appears lower than the tower, then raising a drone would make it drop further? But that misunderstands how line of sight works over a curve. When you rise up, your view changes. The horizon drops and you see more of the mountain that was previously hidden. That's exactly what the globe predicts. On a flat Earth, the mountain should always be fully visible, and its position shouldn't change, but in reality, it does change. So your drone test doesn't debunk the globe, it confirms it. And I think we'll call that a day here, everyone. What do you think? Dear oh dear, Brian, you have utterly destroyed yourself here. Totally misunderstanding angular size and perspective in one video. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of Brian's video. As I say, we're all done and dusted for another one. Thanks so much for watching today. If you enjoyed it, please do consider subscribing to the channel for more. Remember, on daily videos now. And if you really like this one on Brian, then please give it a thumbs up too. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow for the return of the most famous moon landing denier of all, Bart Sabrell. See you then.